What's up, guys? It is Hot Wheels Tournaments, and today is a video I've been meaning to make for a while now because I think it's become kind of a general sentiment within the community, and that is Hot Wheels Super Treasure Hunts and the fact that they kind of suck now. They just aren't what they once were. They used to be so cool, so awesome, and that's not to say that they still aren't cool and awesome, but just how special and how awesome that line used to be is not there anymore. It's much more mid, and that could be for a variety of reasons, but it's something that I think is interesting to talk about and something that we're going to go ahead and talk about here today. So to get started, I think it's kind of necessary to understand where Hot Wheels Super Treasure Hunts were at one point in time, and I do apologize. I am not a graphic designer. That is not what I majored in college. It's not my specialty. So this isn't going to be like the nicest PowerPoint you've ever seen and the nicest presentation. But in the mid 2010s, we were really kind of at a peak era of supers. We were just getting off the chain, crazy stuff all the time. A lot of the super treasure hunt grails, a lot of the most legendary super treasure hunts came from this era. They're all the super treasure hunts that now Hot Wheels is replicating in different colors for the Legends Tour. As you guys know, as they do that tour every year, they re-release an old super color. They've done the Datsun wagon might have been like a Mexico convention exclusive, but the Cool Combi is getting done for 2024. The Honda S2000 was done for 2023. We've seen the Chevy Silverado, I believe. We may have seen the Bel Air Gasser. I'm not entirely sure. I can't remember specifically, but these legendary super treasure hunts are getting done. In the mid 2010s, you were getting the Datsun 510 wagon, which is regarded by many as the greatest super treasure hunt of all time. In my opinion, it's the Cool Combi, which came in the 2015 A case. Fun fact, the Datsun wagon was the 2014 Q case. You had back-to-back supers with the Datsun 510 wagon and that Cool Combi. It was insane. You had the Ferrari 599XX get its second release in 2015. In 2013, maybe it's 2012. I believe 2012 was the first release. The aforementioned 55 Chevy Bel Air Gasser. And just take a look at these super treasure hunt lineups from the mid 2010s. I'll show you a couple of them. Here's 2014. You had some crazy stuff. Now, every super treasure hunt lineup is going to have a couple duds. We see a couple of generic castings get it every year. There's always one or two ugly ones. Sandblastia here, not great. Nobody's asking for a motorcycle super, the Harley Davidson Fat Boy. I believe that's the last time a motorcycle was a super. Nobody liked that. And then, the Twin Mill, which you can at least say is an iconic Hot Wheels casting. But look at just some of the juggernauts you have. You have three legendary super treasure hunts here. You have the 55 Chevy Bel Air Gasser, the 71 Datsun Bluebird 510 wagon, and the 83 Chevy Silverado. These are three legendary super treasure hunts. Not to mention two others that I don't think are quite legendary, but are really, really good. And up there are some of the greats. You have the 76 Greenwood Corvette, and you have the 64 Chevy Nova station wagon. Those are all super treasure hunts that if they came out today, I would be nonstop looking for because of how good they are. So that's 5 out of 15, and you surround it with some really quality ones as well. I think that '07 Ford Mustang looks great. That Mustang Mach 1 is very well done. You have the 70 Chevy Chevelle SS, very muscle dominated in this mid 2010s era. That's just where Hot Wheels was at the time. The lineup is not nearly as diverse as it is now. The JDM presence was just starting to take effect, and Euro was in the Hot Wheels car line as a very supercar focused thing. You didn't see like cool different Euro, especially like German style cars in the lineup at all. That took a place much later. So you had a much more condensed, a much less diverse lineup, but you were getting better super treasure hunts than you are now. Then you can go over to 2015 and you could say, all right, well, look at the juggernauts we get here. Again, I think you have three legendary super treasure hunts in 2015. The Cool Combi is an all-timer. The Ferrari 599XX is an all-timer. And the 69 Ford Mustang Boss 302 is an all-timer. Now, the 69 Ford Mustang Boss, in my opinion, is probably the greatest super treasure hunt ever produced. I know it's not on the legendary status of castings that say a Chevy Silverado might be, a Datsun Bluebird 510 wagon might be, a Cool Combi might be, but it's a very, very good and popular casting. And the execution on this one is just crazy. And then again, some very quality super surrounding this lineup. You have the Toyota AE86 Corolla, which I think is fantastic in the G-Ready Deco. You have the custom 77 Dodge van. the 65 Mustang 2+2 Fastback, that 70 Plymouth Superbird, that Toyota Off-Road Chuck are all think are really, really good. I mean, you just look at the quality. Yeah, there's some bummers. That Roadster sucks. That Passing Gas or that 8 Crate kind of suck. But you have great supers. And then the surrounding quality is great. You just look at the supers you were able to find. You look at how good they look. It was just incredible. And I think that's for three main reasons. Supers at the time, they focused on three things that I'm going to talk about in order here. The first is they did a great job of allowing legendary and popular castings to become super treasure hunts. You have the 83 Chevy Silverado. You have the 55 Chevy Bel Air. You have the 71 Datsun Bluebird. You have the Cool Combi. You have the Ferrari 599XX. You have your legendary castings becoming super treasure hunts. And that's just not something I think you see to this extent today. You know, I'd say here on this list over the course of 2 years, you saw 5 legendary super treasure hunts. Let's go ahead and take a look at 2021 and 2022. 2021, you look at this list of cars, what of these castings is legendary? The 99 Honda Civic Type R EK9, yes, that's legendary. The Nissan Skyline HT 2000 GTX, yes, that's legendary. So you have 2. Go to 2023, which of these castings is established as a legend? The Bluebird Wagon, which has already been done. You know, the 82 Toyota Supra, people love that, but that's a brand new casting. There was no this was not a legendary casting. People have loved it, but there's no guarantee that this was going to be hit. So really, you only have 2 legendary castings over the last 2 years to become super treasure hunts. The Bluebird, I think, you know, it's already been a super, it's already been established. You know, that's not anything new. The 82 Toyota Supra, it was popular and it's JDM, so you could kind of assume it might be, but there's no guarantee it was going to hit. So really, over the last 2 years, you've given us 2 legendary castings. And I just think, you know, you look at some of the castings that they could have done that have yet to. The Honda Civic EG has yet to be a super. It's been out a couple of years now. The Porsche 911 GT3 has yet to be a super. It's been out 2-3 years now. And I'm talking about the new generation. I know they did the old one, but the new generation they have yet to do. The Subaru 22B, that would be a great super. They've done it as a regular treasure hunt, but they haven't given. You have these ultra popular castings that you're just not giving a run like you were in 2014 and 2015. Now, that's for a couple of reasons. The main thing is premium is a lot bigger than it was in 2014 and 2015. In 2014 and 2015, Hot Wheels premium was non-existent. It was basically pop culture. That was kind of it. Car culture, I don't think became a thing till 2016. So if you wanted to make your cool cars premium, excuse me, it was either RLC or super treasure hunts. Those are the only 2 routes you could go now. Nowadays, you know, if you have ultra cool castings, which you have a lot more now, you can go the premium route. You can send them to car culture. You can send them to Boulevard. You know, you can send them to the Walmart Premium Series. The Honda Civic EG started in premium. They've brought it to basics, did a Walmart premium of it. But, you know, you're getting super cool versions in car culture. You've seen it twice there now. So you can do other things. The Porsche 911 GT3, it hasn't been a Hot Wheels super treasure, it has been a super treasure hunt, but it's been a car culture chase. So you can do these other things with them, which I get, but the super treasure hunt has always been the thing if you are into collecting rare Hot Wheels. That is what you go after, is the super treasure hunt. That is what has defined the modern era. You can argue that it's been premium, but super treasure hunts have always been what makes the collecting world goes round. That is what people look for the first thing when they get to the pegs, and it's the first thing they post on Facebook or Instagram or Reddit when they find something. So I think that's the first thing. I think there's just been a lack of the legendary castings that they've been building up, getting super treasure hunt treatment, that you just don't see it to the extent you did back in the day. The second thing is when they do super treasure hunts, they're not taking risks. They're not having fun with them. Go back and look at these super treasures from 2015, 2014, and 2015. In particular, look at the Datsun Bluebird. It gets that iconic Speed Hunters deco. And this was based, I believe, off one of the designer's real cars, I want to say. I believe I'm correct in saying that. But the Datsun Bluebird gets this awesome Speed Hunters deco. The Chevy Bel Air Gasser gets this awesome drag racing deco with the tampoed wheels. The Cool Combi with the surf shop vibes looks so freaking good. Like, these cars were getting insane decos. On top of that, they were major upgrades over their mainline counterparts. I feel like the same can't be said today, especially for the legendary cars. They're not getting the same treatment that we're used to. The 64 Chevy Nova station wagon getting those disc wheels with the flames, the 83 Chevy Silverado getting that like New Mexico Aztec style treatment. And I can't say this for sure. I would not be surprised if that was designed by Michael Geralder, legendary deco designer for Hot Wheels and Matchbox. This screams like something he would do. I don't know if this Tampa work was done by him. I don't know if this deco was done by him. I would assume it was. The Toyota E86 Corolla and that G-Ready deco, the Ford Mustang Boss getting those Tampa wheels, like Super Treasure Hunts used to look so premium, and I feel like we just don't get that same effect today. Look at what they did with the Cool Combi. Look at what they did with the Datsun 510 wagon. Look at what they did with the Chevy Bel Air Outgasser, and then go to one of the modern classics of today's Hot Wheels world, the 99 Honda Civic Type R. Let's talk about it again. Take a look at that deco. Is there anything special about that, or is it just like it's just gold with mismatched gold wheels and it looks really tacky and really ugly? This is an immensely popular car, and I get it went for high prices on eBay, but it's not necessarily because it looked good. That's just because it's a Civic, and it's probably the most famous Civic of all time. That's why this car got so expensive, and it was a super treasure hunt. The deco sucks. They could have thrown an awesome drift deco on there and made it look really cool. And I know some people say they like it look stock, and I get that. There's a time and a place for stock, but I feel like with super treasure hunts, that's not the point. You should be making your legendary castings get legendary decos. I mean, even when they went simple, look at the Ferrari 599XX. Even when they went simple, you get red line tires, you get this Ferrari racing stripes. It looks good. The Mustang Boss gets right. Do something with the EK9, a legendary casting in its own right. It's being released everywhere. Then just make it in this like really tacky gold color. And that's a common trend is you're seeing these super treasure hunts get either ugly deco that are playing it very safe, or they're just playing it plain. Look at 2022. How many plain supers can we see? The 2020 Corvette is plain. The 2020 Jaguar F-Type. The Honda Civic Type R is plain. That's 3. Then you go over the Miura is plain. The Audi Avant is plain. That's 5. You have 5 plain supers in 1 year, right? Go to 2023. Which of these is plain? The Mazda Combo is plain. That's 6. The Lotus Evija is plain. That's 7. The Toyota Supra, you could probably say is not plain because it's got some striping, but you've got 7 plain super treasure hunts in 1 year or in 2 years, versus if you go to 2014, how many do you have this plain? The Twin Mill. Okay, that's 1. And that's one of your ones that you know is going to suck. Go to 2015. What's plain? The Mistretta. Okay, you have 2 plain supers in 2 years versus 7 in 2. And great. Thankfully, in 2023, they got better. There's only 2. But especially 2020 through 2022, it was really bad. So this is what I'm talking about. Iconic castings, iconic liveries became iconic supers. Look at that 83 Chevy Silverado. Just that little bit of deco goes such a long way for making it look good. Look at that first Ferrari 599XX. Not a ton going on, but enough to really make it pop. Those silver wheels are incredible. Look at how great this Toyota off-road truck looks in Falcon deco. Why have we not gotten another Falcon Super? It looks so good. Talk about the golf theme. They put this on a lot of supers, but they rarely ever use it appropriately. It looks great on the Ford GT40, but nobody wants a golf deco on the Glory Chaser. Nobody wants a golf deco on the 32 Ford. We want it on the Ford GTs. We want it on the Porsches. They did it on the Porsche 356A. Why are we giving, matte castings great deco and great castings matte deco? Let's switch that up. Let's find a way to do that. The other thing is the decos they actually are doing kind of suck. Why does a custom 18 I get they're trying to have fun with that custom 18 Ford Mustang, but that's just way too busy and way too complicated. The 73 BMW CSL race car is a great casting. It looks awful in that gold. That is such a generic, bland deco. You're telling me we could have gone and do something way more fun that's paying homage to, a classic BMW racing deco? Sure, maybe you can't get the license, but can you do the colors to try and give us that idea? The Studebaker Champ, that the black just doesn't work on it. It looks so boring. It's just like, what are we doing here? We go back, oh, excuse me, to 2023. The Mercedes-Benz 300 SL. This is an iconic classic race car. We couldn't do something more exciting than a black number two on the hood and the side, really. We wanted the 68 Copel Camaro in the art cars deco. No, like that's just not what looks good. These cars aren't nearly as appealing as they were, in 2015. Like go look at for example, where's a good one? The DeLorean. Look at how retro that looks. Sure, not the most exciting casting, but in that retro deco, it looks really, really good. It elevates the car. The custom 77 Dodge van. Sure, not the most exciting casting, but when you put it in that fantastic Moon Eyes livery, turn it gold and give it some disc wheels, it looks fantastic. What happened to that? These cars just aren't elevated in the same way they once were. There's only one or two examples within the last couple of years I can think of. The Nissan Skyline HT 2000 GTX, fantastic deco. Minimal, but great green color, really much better than what the normal version is, with great striping. And then the 84 Mustang SVO with those silver wheels and that purple pops. Those two are fantastic examples. All the others, very meh. We go to 2023, what is popping here? What is flying off the page? The only one that is the Datsun Bluebird wagon, because they know they can go crazy with it. Outside of that, they don't try too much. I also give credit to the Volvo 240 Drift wagon. I think that one looks stellar. But outside of that, the Renault is very basic. You know, what Mighty K gets kind of a cool one with the surf shop, but that's a less desirable casting. Again, cool deco, less desirable casting. What are we doing here? So what happened to this? Iconic castings, iconic liveries became iconic supers. And here's just some of the duds from over the years. As I mentioned before, the EK9, I mean, just really, that's what we're doing. The Nissan GTR R34, this has been the staple of the Hot Wheels line. It has been probably one of the most popular castings of the last 10 years. And its super debut is green with black stripes. It's fine. I expect something more from the GTR. I expect a better color choice. I expect something that pops more. I expect a drift deco. Like, what are we doing here? This is one of the iconic cars of the last 10 years, and it bombs. The Honda Civic EF, one of the great cars of the last 10 years, has become super popular, and we put it in Spectra Flame White. Spectra Flame White looks terrible. There are so many better ways to give the EF a great super treasure hunt release, and instead we get a very underwhelming one. The Nissan GTR R32, black, does not pop, brown wheels. Ugh. I mean, just you have four cars that have kind of defined the last 10 years of collecting, the JDM era of Hot Wheels, Civics and Skylines. You give them their releases and they bomb, versus look at what we're doing for the Datsun 510 at the peak of its powers. Look at what we're doing for the Chevy Bel Air Gasser at the peak of its powers. Look at what we're doing for the Cool Combi at the peak of its powers. Like, these are incredible. These are so incredibly lame, just so underwhelming. Fantastic castings. They relied purely on the name instead of doing anything fun. Bad deco choices for cool cars. This 64 Chevy Nova wagon drives me nuts. Look at the two decos on the right. One is from 20, what? This one's from 2023, the purple one. I don't know. Probably 2020, 2019 on the jerry-rigged one. Look at how awesome this casting is. You have a Gasser wagon. It looks sweet. Look at some of the crazy decos we've gotten. Then take a look at what deco got the super. We did the super with the Hot Wheels race team deco, and it looks terrible. You can barely tell it's Spectra Flame. The wheels are blacked out. And, it's a very, very undesirable deco. Versus, imagine if we have a Spectra Flame purple Supernova wagon. How awesome would that look with some silver rims? How sweet would that look? Think about that jerry rig and a teal blue Spectra Flame. Think about how good that would look. And then look at what we got. Like, what are we doing here? How was the car on the left the one they were like, yeah, this is a car that could be a great super treasure hunt, and we're going to greenlight the worst deco of all time? It just doesn't make sense. So I think you're like just looking at it. The decos have gotten less creative. The casting choices have gotten less creative, largely due to premium. And they're just they're playing it safe. They're playing it so safe, you know? Here's a great example. Cool cars, mid-execution. The Honda CRX. This is a great casting. Another white super treasure. That Spectraflame purple is literally the same thing as white paint. Like it looks the exact same. The Mazda RX-7, which I'll say this, as far as plain supers go, this is one of the best executed ones. But, just plain black. This is an iconic drift car. When they did this in Falcon Deco, that would have been a great time to do a Falcon Super Treasure Hunt. It would have looked great. Jaguar F-Type. I think this is a great casting. Black Super Treasure Hunt paint. They love black supers. The black Spectraflame looks the same as black paint. It really doesn't pop. The Mercury Cyclone. We know what Gasser supers can be. We know what that Chevy Bel Air Gasser was. We haven't had a Gasser super come close. This drives me nuts. They turn out so boring. This is what happened to the Chevy Nova wagon. Look at what happened to the Mercury Cyclone. It looks the exact same as the regular one. Like, it's just, there's nothing special going on here. But, if we could do this up in something crazy like a Spectraflame green or Spectraflame teal or like the Spectraflame blue, just like something bright that pops with some sick deco on it, they've dropped these. I don't know what happened to tampoed wheels, but they are gone. We did it on the Chevy Bel Air Gasser. We did it on the Ford Mustang Boss right down here. I don't know what happened to deco on wheels, but that seems to be gone at this point. So just like look at all these possibilities. The Mazda Repu. This is a great casting. That is the ugliest deco ever. Why are we greenlighting that as a super treasure? Glory Chaser. As I mentioned before, we like the Golf. We like the Golf deco. Why are we using it on a generic car? Let's give it to something cool. I mentioned the Mercedes earlier. That's just so boring. We have an iconic car, a classic car, and you just choose to put like a black number 2 on it. Really? That's as creative as we got? It looks like a mystery model. It looks like the mystery model series. The Tesla Model S, only Tesla that's ever been a super. We're going to do it just like in blue. We're not going to try anything creative or do anything fun. I don't know. Just like cool cars, mid execution, or cool decos, bad cars. That just seems to be a common theme. Choosing boring decos or not taking chances or bad colors and just missing. We got to get rid of these boring supers. These are boring. Now, here's how bad they get, right? We've had a lot of stinkers over here. That Fiat 500, terrible. The Back to the Future Time Machine was awful. Nobody wants rubber wheels on that car. You've released this car in premium. We can go get the premium, which is nicer than the Super Treasure Hunt. And it's the exact same deck. This was an awful choice. The Coppola Camaro I mentioned earlier. Stop doing the art cars in the Super Treasure Hunt series. Just like flat out. The art cars decos suck in general. Never do in the Super Treasure Hunt. That Mazda RX-7 on the right, one of the worst super evers. Just like cool car, somewhat popular. You're going to choose that deco to be your super deco. Good Lord. It looks like a first grader's like art project. It's awful. The tuned Batmobile. Now, this isn't even really ripping on super execution. This is just a terrible choice. This is one of those like, why would you ever choose it? Like some generics you can get. I can get the Glory Chaser. It's kind of a cool generic. I get why that was like a super treasure hunt. I can sort of understand why you want to go with some generics as supers. Like I get the Glory Chaser. Some of these I can be talked into. Like I get it. Also, we've gotten away from doing the generics. The 8 crate, kind of a cool generic. Like I can get some of these choices. Sandblaster. I can get it. Twin Mill, iconic Hot Wheels, like basic. I get it. Nobody was asking for the Toon TV series Batmobile. Nobody was asking for Carbonic. Terrible. The Morris Mini in the Hot Wheels deco. Stop using the Hot Wheels Racing Team deco as a super treasure hunt deco. It looks awful. Nobody wants it. Nobody wants those cars to be supers. Anyways, those are the ugly. I've been ranting a little bit. I will say this. There is hope. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. Hot Wheels still has their fastball. Maybe not to the extent they once did when they were doing, what did I say here? The Cool Combi, the Toyota, they did like 6, 7 really good supers in a year, both these years. Now it's down more to 2 or 3. 2022, you can say, all right, what was really good? The Skyline and the SVO. Those were the two that were really good to me. Those two were great. This year, you can point to the Supra, I think was well executed, and the Datsun was well executed. Maybe the Volvo. So like 2 to 3 that are good. I really want the Porsche. I don't think the deco is great though. I think it's very basic. But they still have their fastball. Every now and then they release a banger. You can see the Porsche 911 GT, that Spectra Flame purple. My God, on a Porsche, so smart, so great. Minimal deco, but it looks fantastic. That Nissan Skyline from 2022, perfect. The JDM Legends deck, perfect. This is so well executed. It's everything a super should be. The Porsche 993 GT2, maybe not an all-time classic, but the blue and orange, they were trying something. It looked pretty good. Gotta love it. The SVO I mentioned earlier, purple, silver wheels, great. The cars they know it works on, the Datsun 510, they went crazy with these decos. They went crazy with the wagon and the 510 from 2021. They went crazy and they look awesome, right? They gave them cool colors, good deco, cool wheel choices, everything super should be. But for whatever reason, they're just unwilling to try it on other cars. Only very specific cars get this treatment. Every car should get this treatment like it was in 24 and 2015. That's what I'm trying to get at. You know, look at the Jags Dodge Challenger. Oh my God. Fantastic super. Gold, deco, everything a Dodge Challenger super should be. This is a perfect super. The Honda Civic Type R. This car could have so easily been stock. They've done it in white. They've done it in red. It so easily could have just been like a stock release. No, we're going to give it a full drift deco. We're going to give it blue tires, and it's going to look fantastic. Everything a super should be. This is what Hot Wheels is capable of. And it used to be what they were doing on a consistent basis, right? Between 2014 and 2015, I can name like 10 legendary, I can name like 5, like think about this. In a calendar year, you get a Bel Air Gasser, a Datsun Bluebird, a cool Combi, a Ferrari 599X, and a Ford Mustang Boss Super, all of which were perfectly executed. Those are 5 legendary supers. You could also get a 65 Mustang 2+2 Fastback that was great, a Dodge Van that was great, a Toyota AE86 that was great, a Greenwood Corvette that was great, a Silverado, which is another legend. Like you have like 10 supers, 11 supers that you could find over the course of 2 years versus like right now, these are the great supers from the last like 6 to 7 years, right? Like 2013, 2014, 2015, I can give you 11 supers I would have to find, that I would have to find in stores, that I would hunt ridiculously hard for. I can give you like 10 from the last 7 years after that. That's what I want Hot Wheels to get back to. I think they've kind of heard that because 2024 is starting to look up. Uh, what makes a super? So I'll give you some things just to recap. What makes a successful super treasure hunt? Cool castings, Fox Body Mustangs, cool creative decos and cool colors. The HKS Civic, the Toyota off-road truck with the Falcon gear. The what elevates the regular version. Think about the Datsun 510 wagon. It was just a red car in the main line, but the super treasure hunt becomes dark red, rubber tires, extra tampos on the hood, looks way better. Iconic castings get the iconic treatment. The Bel Air gassers with height like the blue and the Tampa tires. Oh, it looks so great. And it's starting to turn around. Now, they get off to a bit of a rough start in 2024 from what's been released. The Ford Escort RS 2000 drives me crazy. Why? It's getting the stock color. Why is this getting a stock color? This is a rally car. The 2024 or the 2023 new model got rally deco. Typically, the new model is when they go stock. But because the Escort RS 2000 is synonymous with Hot Wheel or synonymous with rally, synonymous with off-roading, it got a rally deco. So when they go to do it as a super, they just do it and this should have been a rally car. Why is it plain? Stupid decision on my part. 2018 Camaro SS. This is one of your mid supers. You have a couple of these every year, whatever. BMW 507. Fine casting. No one was asking for it to be a super. It gets the Mercedes Benz. We just threw a number on it and it's gold. Cool. 89 Mercedes Benz 560 SEC AMG. Yes, it's plain, but it's a car that makes sense plain. Every now and then, cars make sense to be plain. For example, Lotus Evija, super car, makes sense. It's plain. I get it. I understand why that's plain red. Some of these others, Jaguar F-Type, better color than black, but I get why it's plain. The Mercedes is legendary for, in stock form. They made the stock version. I get why it's plain red here. I don't hate that. Here's where we get into the good stuff. The 60s Fiat 500D Modificato. This is a very unique casting coming over from Premium. And look, they went for it here. It gets a cool checkered deco, red wheels, I think this is a really good super. I think this is really well executed. I'm excited for this one. Sure. Is it the most legendary car? No, but it's a unique choice. It gets a special treatment and a relatively well executed deco. I think this is a solid 8 out of 10. The 71 El Camino reminds me of supers of old. This is a big throwback to those 2014, 2015 supers. Look at that Chevrolet SS. Look at that '07 Ford Mustang. Look at the 1971 Mustang Mach 1. Look at the Chevy Nova wagon. Look at the 69 Corvette, Look at these old school supers. Look at the 8 crate. Look at how that striping and that flame is used, and then look at the El Camino. That is a major, major Hot Wheels throwback. I think that's fine. Here's where we turn the corner. This is what's giving me hope. The Audi 90 Quattro looks insane. Here is a car that has an ability. It probably won't be legendary, but it's a great casting. It's going to become a classic casting, in my opinion. It was great in the main line this year. And then you bring out this full deco, each sides on the hood, dark blue. I mean, look at how good that looks. That is a legendary super. That is a must-have. Maybe not legendary because it's not a legendary casting, but that is a must-have. That is a must-have super. And then when I knew they might be back was when the Volvo P1800 Gasser super pictures got leaked. Look, is this the most exciting car? No. Is this a car everybody wants? No. But compared to what Gassers have been, when you look at how boring the Mercury Cyclone is, when you look at just how generic that is, when you look at how poorly the Chevy Nova Gasser wagon super was executed, and then you go over and you look at the Volvo P1800 Gasser in teal blue, bright colors with a proper drag racing deco and decoed and tampoed rubber rear tires. That thing looks awesome. This is a meh car. This is an average Hot Wheels release. But when you dress it up like that, oh my God, do I want it. It is so sexy in that teal metallic blue with Tampo tires, a great drag racing livery. That is a classic Hot Wheels super. The Audi 90 Quattro is going to be a great Hot Wheels super, right? They still have their fastball. It has been a while since they've watched heat like this. So go ahead, look at the 60s Fiat 500, look at the 90 Audi 90 Quattro, look at the Volvo P8 1800 Gasser, and tell me, over the last 2 years, have they brought heat like that? No. No. There's not really two cars that look as good as those two as supers over the last 2 years. The only car I'd here to argue it for is the Nissan Skyline HD 2000 GTX because that car is sexy. That car is so good. But even the 84 Mustang SVO, which I love, I don't think it holds a candle to those two. You're going to tell me those two cars, I get it. They might not be as legendary. You might not love them as much as the 99 Honda Civic Type R EK9. But you're going to tell me that those two don't look better than the Type R as a super because they don't. They do. They do. The EK9 Super sucked. This is the EK9 Super is like the pinnacle of everything that is wrong with Hot Wheels Super Treasure Hunts right now. And the 90 Audi Quattro and the Volvo P1800 Gasser is the pinnacle of everything that could go right. Stop giving cool cars like the Ford Escort RS2000 bland decos. Stop doing that. Stop doing that. The Ford Escort RS2000 should have an iconic rally theme, just like the Audi 90 Quattro has. It should have an iconic theme. It should have an iconic look because this is the pinnacle of what it can be. It's getting the ultimate treatment by Hot Wheels. So stop giving these cars dog shit decos like this, like the Hot Wheels deco. Give it that purple. Give it that jerry rig deco. That's what a super should be. I mean, imagine that jerry rigged super in the Volvo's color. I mean, imagine this Chevy Nova wagon with that Volvo color as a super. That would be an all-timer. It would be, oh my God, it'd be top 10. It would be top 10. It would be so great. So that's my rant. It may or may not make sense. You may think I'm an idiot yelling about toy cars, which at the end of the day, yes, I am. But I think Hot Wheels can be so much better with their Super Treasure Hunt line. I like where they're going in 2024. I would say you have four really good supers: the Mercedes, the Fiat, the Audi, and the Volvo. The El Camino is probably good too. You have a couple mid ones, the BMW, the Camaro. You have a missed opportunity with the Ford Escort. But Hot Wheels can do better. I want them to return to this. I want to return to this. I want to be able to find 5 legendary super treasure hunts in the space of a year. So that's all for now, guys. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I appreciate y'all listening. I'll see y'all later. Peace.